Well, it's begun. Countries and states all around the world are now blocking YouTube sign ins to comply with all these awful ID age verification laws that are going on in the world right now. This was a Reddit post that a lot of people are calling fake in the comments, but I actually believe this is real based on Florida law. A Reddit user named Xeon basically said, "Hi everyone, I got this email a few minutes ago and I think it's BS. It's my first time posting a complaint here on r/YouTube. Has anyone else gotten an email like this?" The email says, "Hi Nicholas, we're writing to share an important change to your access to YouTube. In response to a local law, you will no longer be able to sign into YouTube in Florida starting in a few days. What this means for you may still be able to watch YouTube while signed out, but you will no longer be able to access certain features, including likes, subscriptions, memberships, and creating playlists. If you have a YouTube channel, it will no longer be visible to other users, and you will no longer be able to access it on YouTube to do things like leave comments and upload videos. If you are a member of a YouTube Premium family plan, you may lose your ability to access these benefits. Learn more about how to cancel a membership here or request a refund here. What you can do is you can download or delete your data and any content you've created. You can find more detailed information about this change and what you can do in our help center. Thanks." So this is happening. As you can see, this email was received from somebody who lives in Florida, and this obviously has to do with ID age verification that is going all around the world right now. Florida has passed laws where they are now actually going to be banning kids from making accounts on social medias, and this guy even said himself that he actually does have a minor account. So YouTube, either through their algorithm or whatever, determined that he's like a certain age. I believe for Florida, it's like 14 where you're not able to make a social media account. Yeah, so it's a law that bans kids 14 and under from creating social media accounts, and 15 years old needs parental permission to open an account. So through YouTube's AI crap or whatever, they were able to determine that that guy is 14 and under. So they're just straight up telling him that he can no longer sign into YouTube, right? And obviously, I know a lot of people are going to be thinking, and this is a point I make all the time, "Oh, I don't live in Florida. It's not that big of a deal." Dude, age verification is spreading like wildfire. It's not an epidemic, it's a pandemic, and it is something that is going to eventually reach your state and country if we don't stop this right now. Like I said earlier, a lot of people in the comments were saying that this is fake or that this just doesn't seem like a real email or whatever. Obviously, the emails can be spoofed or whatever. So just because you get an email from what is, quote, an official YouTube email doesn't necessarily mean that the email is real. But there have been multiple YouTube support articles that have been linked that proves that this is actually a real thing. YouTube access restrictions for users aged 13 to 15 in Florida. In response to a local law, users who are 13 years old and not using supervised child accounts will no longer be able to sign into YouTube in Florida. Users who are 14 to 15 years old and not using supervised child accounts will no longer be able to sign into YouTube in Florida unless they link to a parent's account. This is an official YouTube help article, so this is real. This is actually happening, and Florida seems to be the first of many states in the United States that are planning a similar ban like this. And so obviously, how are you going to be able to prove that you were above a certain age, right? Well, of course, by submitting ID age verification. Submitting your ID, your very sensitive biometric data that can be hacked and compromised at any time. And if you don't, then you essentially can't use YouTube like how you would use it, right? Your channel, your entire channel, let's say you're a kid who's making videos, your entire channel will be yeeted off the internet. You won't be able to like, subscribe, make private playlists, get any memberships. And of course, you won't be able to upload, make any comments, or earn any money off of YouTube. So you essentially are just going to be a random spectator on YouTube forever. You can't comment on a video. You can't like or dislike a video. You will just be going ahead and being like a viewer of YouTube. You won't be able to subscribe to anyone, so you're not going to be able to keep track of your favorite content creators or whatever. And then they tell you to download your data and content if you would like. So, go to Google Takeout or whatever, and then you can delete your data and content too if you want to do that as well. So they're saying that you can sign in when you're 16, and again, they will go ahead and like allow you to create a new channel or whatever. You confirm your birthday, and then you verify your age. And notice how they don't really like specify too much about that, the most invasive part of this process. Well, how exactly do you verify your age? Oh, of course, you can use your ID, use your email address. I don't even know how this works. I really doubt this will actually work. Take a selfie or use a credit card, right? Now, out of all of these options, if the email one works, obviously I'd rather use that, but more than likely you're gonna have to send in an ID or a selfie, and sometimes both. So yeah, ID age verification is spreading like wildfire. This is the first person who I've seen online that has gotten this email from Florida, and I'm sure that many other people are going to be following suit. And the frustrating thing about ID age verification is it just doesn't really get talked about that much, right? A lot of people are really talking about this, especially on YouTube in August of 2025, when like the news is spreading that YouTube is going to be having ID age verification. But ever since, it just keeps getting worse and worse, spreading to more states, more countries. Even continents right now, like the EU, for example, are discussing and are essentially going to inevitably implement a actual social media ban for an entire continent. Despite the fact that the vast majority of states in the United United States, which is supposed to be the land of the free and the home of the brave, right, have an active ID age verification law in force, people just don't really seem to care about this whole thing. When people like myself make videos about this type of stuff, people are saying, oh, you're milking it or whatever. And those types of comments never bother me, but I just find it funny because it's just like, okay, so by talking about an active issue that is just going to keep getting worse and worse every single day, if we don't do something about it, that's milking it. Okay, very interesting, right? So I guess what they would rather us do is do nothing, and all these IDH verification laws will spread to the point where this entire map will turn red, and we're all just going to have some sort of active ID age verification law in force. YouTube, I obviously have made a lot of videos criticizing YouTube. I am in no way a YouTube show, right? But YouTube is such an important tool for kids, man. You can learn so many things off YouTube. I have learned so many. I can't even give you guys a count on how many important, valuable life skills and random things I've learned on YouTube. Any type of thing that you want to see a video of, any type of tutorial, how to fix something, how to do some sort of math problem or something like that. The first thing you should do is go on YouTube and look for it, because you're going to be able to likely find a detailed tutorial about it. A lot of people in the world are visual learners. They like to learn by actually watching someone do something, right? So if you make it so kids are not allowed to use YouTube without handing over an ID, it just makes for a very weird environment on the internet where A, we have to all hand over our sensitive biometric information, and B, we're also going to be panicking from the inevitable data leaks that'll happen, many of which I've covered on this channel. Some people are saying that they live in Florida and haven't gotten this email yet. I mean, first of all, they might not have an account that YouTube considers to be a minor. And two, YouTube takes time to roll these things out. They don't just send everybody an email at the same time. Some people are probably getting it first, some people probably aren't, right? But this does look like a real email to me. Again, according to the help articles that we've read, it does look like it's an actual thing that's going on in Florida, and eventually it will spread across the United States. In fact, they have 2 YouTube help articles written about the same thing. For some reason, it's just typed a little bit differently. These are both official YouTube, or I guess I should say Google support articles. As you can see, when I'm zooming in and out of one of them, it's actually zooming in and out of the other one, so it's like the same type of website. But over here, one says users age 13 to 15 in Florida, and the other one says users ages 13 to 15 in Florida. I think they wrote the same article, but they just have a little bit of different wording here. Over here it says, and not using supervised kids accounts will no longer be able to sign in. Over here it says, and not using supervised child accounts. So it seems to be pretty much the exact same article. It's just that little distinction is there. But yeah, man, it's ID age verification to use YouTube, to be able to sign into the website. I am very baffled at the idea that a lot of people don't think that this is happening in the United States, when in fact, 1, it is happening, and 2, it is already implemented and live as we speak. There's still a lot of states over here with bills pending. There's still a lot of states that have actually enacted a law, but it's just not effective yet. We are all going to be under IDH verification, so we need to actually do something about it, right? And that is where the call to action comes in, which I feel like a lot of YouTubers don't really talk about. Badinternetbills.com is a great website that you can go ahead and look at and go ahead and enter, your zip code and stuff like that, and find your local representatives, right? The Kids Act, for example, as you guys know, I've talked about many times on this channel, it actually did pass the House of Representatives in the United States. The Kids Act is essentially national ID age verification. So ID age verification across the entire country, right? It still has to go into the Senate, right? And now in the Senate, if then it passes, then eventually Trump will likely sign it into law, and then we're gonna, really be in a lot of trouble, right? But right now, like they say, the fight is not over. It's still going to be discussed in the Senate, and it has not been discussed yet. So this is our time. Make your voices heard, man. We want to make sure that ID age verification doesn't become a federal thing. We don't want it to be a thing at all, but it's obviously going to be way worse if we make it a whole thing across the country, right? So obviously, like I say, and I've said in many other videos, fill out the form. And if you don't want to use your real information or whatever, just go ahead and find their email addresses and just send them an email. Your local representatives can be contacted very, very easily, right? You can just go ahead and call them directly if you want to as well. You can just enter in any type of zip code of wherever you live in the United States. It will show you your local representatives and your local senators. Obviously, the senators are more important to contact right now, especially when it comes to the Kids Act. So just go ahead and contact them and tell them, hey, I do not support ID age verification. It is a bad, invasive law that is designed for mass surveillance, right? And the approach that I always tell you guys to take, even though some people might say it's a little aggressive or whatever, is you guys should just straight up say, I will not be voting for you if you are supporting ID age verification. You should name their competitor, whoever is on the other side of the aisle. I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican or whatever you believe in. This shit is way more important than these stupid little political division fights that we have going on in this country and many countries around the world. I don't give a shit if you're a liberal or a conservative. It does not matter to me. We need to all fight against ID age verification. Otherwise, we're all going to not be allowed to use social media soon without handing over our IDs and our fucking fingerprints. People are going to say that we're making a big deal out of this and that it won't be that bad. But consider, as I say many times in other videos, this all started with the UK's Online Safety Act that was supposed to ban kids from seeing adult websites. And now all of a sudden, every single country around the world either already has ID verification laws or will have them eventually. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on the situation in the comments. YouTube is now making it so you have to hand an ID to them to sign in. Please leave a like in the video if you enjoyed it and subscribe for more. See ya.